Yet another brand new Lattafa release for 2025. Hashtag Lattafa never sleeps. That is the truth. There's so many Lattafa perfumes that I have acquired and I have been acquiring for many, many years. But in 2025, the month of June just started, and here we are, Fakar Platin. This is a brand new Lattafa perfume. Some of you may already have it if you're familiar with the original, which I think I purchased for like 30 bucks, 29 bucks, something like that. Their fragrances are super affordable. And that is one of the reasons why people really love the brand Lattafa. Lattafa makes some really inexpensive perfumes, great atomizers, beautiful presentations, high concentration of oil. And a lot of times, as is the case with this one, they will go after a more popular DNA, whether that be a designer fragrance, a niche fragrance. The original Fakar, which I purchased last year, is their take on Y by Yves Saint Laurent. Now, of course, this one is called Fakar Platin, so that would be a flanker of Fakar, which means it's probably going to be a flanker of Y, and that it is. This one is actually the brand's take on Y L'Elixir. You know, Y L'Elixir is a fragrance that I paid like 200 bucks for, and that's the small size, the like 2-point-something ounce. I bought it at Macy's when it first came out, and of course, now we have a dupe, if you want to call it that. Now, Lattafa fragrances are not true dupes. They're not claiming to be 100% the original thing. As a matter of fact, they are their versions of these fragrances, but twisted so that the formula is a little bit different. So what are you going to get from Y L'Elixir? Of course, I think in the original note breakdown, and I believe that's a fragrance composed by Dominique Ropion, in the original note breakdown, they actually have agarwood in the dry down. Now, it's a very bright, fresh, citrusy, aromatic fragrance. You look at the notes for this one, there's ginger, there's pink pepper, it's bright, it's citrusy. It has that spice coming from the ginger. There's also a guava ingredient in here. And another thing with the original Y L'Elixir is there's incense. So presumably it has a bit of an incense quality, an incensey personality. And of course, having tried this now for some time, and I'm actually wearing this today, so this is my scent of the day. Beautiful presentation, although when you spray it, you can actually see some of the particles landing on this reflective silver plate here on the front. It comes off very easily. This bottle is super heavy. Beautiful presentation. What do I get from this fragrance? Well, immediately, yes, it does remind me of Y L'Elixir. So you're going to get a stronger experience than the original Fakar. You're also going to get better longevity than the original Fakar. I'm in Dubai right now, and it is quite hot. I think it's like 40 degrees Celsius, 40, 41 degrees Celsius. You do the conversion on that. So everybody is perpetually indoors. This stuff booms off the skin. It radiates. It is quite loud. It is quite potent and powerful. I am going to say that I get a lot of the ginger. It's funny because, you know, with the original Y, the first notes that come to mind are like apple, bergamot, tonka bean. And then here, I just get so much of that ginger. It's so bright, it's spicy. Yes, I know the pink pepper is a contributor to that spicy vibe that you're going to get in the opening, but the citrus zest that you're going to get from this is otherworldly. As far as the guava is concerned, I'm going to be honest with you, there are no tropical elements in this fragrance. I think a lot of times we see guava or melon or passion fruit or pineapple or what have you, and we're inclined to believe that this is going to be a tropical leaning fragrance. It is not. The citrus and this ginger has been amplified. The incense has been toned down. So if you were ever in wonder as to how this can be different from the original after which it's modeled, I do think that this is a twist rather and not a dupe. It is not a one-to-one match or impression of the original. Try this for yourself. See what kind of experience you have with it. Fakar Platin, this in my opinion is a fresher, albeit still very long-lasting version of the original. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the lavender that is in here. There is actually a lot of lavender in this fragrance, and it gives it that fresh, modern, masculine, aromatic profile. It's also reminiscent of some fragrances that I had way back in the day. And of course, lavender has been used in perfumery for the longest time, right? Lavender is one of those incredible aromatic ingredients. It's used in an agreste accord. It's one of those fragrances or one of those notes that is very aromatic. It's very youthful. It's very gentlemanly at the same time. To make it more modern, I know a lot of recent DNAs have also paired it up with clary sage or the sclarine molecule. But in this fragrance, you are going to get the lavender, you're going to get the bergamot, the citrus, the pink pepper, a whole lot of ginger. In the dry down, I don't quite remember if sandalwood is used as a note. I think it might be. But really what you're going to get from this is a tiny bit of an incensey vibe in the dry down, but the longevity is there, right? A lot of times you think, well, if you're going to diminish the base notes, is that going to tap into the longevity and take away from it? Not in the case of this fragrance. It is quite radiant. It is quite strong as far as the citrus personality is concerned, and the longevity is still there. Now, this is marketed as an eau de parfum, and I'm checking to see what the alcohol concentration is. I'm not quite finding it. I know normally it's 80%, which would set the oil at maybe something like 18 or 15, 80% by volume. So I think the oil concentration in this is probably somewhere between 15 to 17, right? And the rest is water. But this is a beautiful fragrance. And again, it's a very fresh, outgoing, inviting, daily wear scent. If you like the original, you're looking for a bit of a fresher and spicier iteration, maybe taking away a little bit of that incensey vibe from Wild Elixir, taking away a little bit of that sweetness as well from the original Y, because this is a much fresher expression. The original Fakar has that tonka bean sweetness that I think really predominates the fragrance. Yes, it opens up very fresh in the opening. You have a bit of a fruity tartness, but then it dries down to that creamy, smooth, silky, tonka bean-like sweetness, that coumarinic sweetness. You're not going to get that in this fragrance. Yes, you do get a little bit of that sweet thing happening in the dry down, but ultimately you're going to get this bright, fresh, spicy take. And that ginger is just wonderful. It actually reminds me a bit of the original Dior Homme Sport with the CO2 ginger that's in there. It's so fresh, it's so inviting. Really, it's a phenomenal fragrance, and Latafa has done it again. Like I said before, hashtag Latafa never sleeps. This is a beautiful fragrance from the brand new release, 2025. Look around. I know I've seen it in a few different places online. You can actually find this for a really good deal, which is the case with all Lattafa fragrances. Lattafa fragrances, for the most part, are incredibly affordable. They are no slouch in the affordability department. Uniqueness, on the other hand, is compromised unless we're talking about some original fragrances like Teriyaki Intense, which was made by Canton Biche. And of course, there are several others from the brand that, in my opinion, are phenomenal. There's actually one coming out very soon, which is a Rooibos tea-based fragrance. And that one is also incredibly original, made by an IFF perfumer. I'm not going to get into too much detail regarding that, but just know that Latafa is always not 3, but probably 5 or a dozen steps ahead of the game. Longevity on this fragrance is a solid 10 hours, I would say, which is quite a surprise given the olfactive profile. Projection well beyond an arm's length for the first hour and a half of application. Versatility on this one, traditionally masculine leaning. I feel like this is great for the spring and summer because it's so fresh with that ginger and the bergamot. I think this one will be worn very comfortably and very happily in the hotter months of the year. Great office scent. It gives casual vibes, but you can dress this one up as well. I find that the original Fakar is a bit more casual. This one is a bit more formal. And as far as the presentation is concerned, really sturdy construction on the box, and the bottle itself is just quite elaborate. Good atomizer, not pressurized, but you do get a wide distribution, and the bottle itself is quite heavy. My final verdict on this fragrance is, if you like the longevity and the smell of Y L'Elixir by Yves Saint Laurent, you're looking for something fresher with an incense and woodsy base toned down, check out the Platine flanker of this fragrance. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining me. That was my review of Fakar Platin by Lattafa. If you took anything of value from today's episode, if you found this helpful or educational or informative in any way, I would really appreciate it if you would consider supporting the channel by clicking subscribe, hitting the bell, and giving this video a thumbs up. It would really mean a lot to me. So thanks again for watching. I love you all. We'll see you tomorrow with a new episode.